How to turn skinny fat into a six-pack. I'm Ryan Fisher, owner of Chalk Performance Training with over 30,000 clients online on my workout programs, and I've changed over 150,000 people to date. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be talking about the most common out-of-shape body type in the entire world, which is being skinny fat. And a lot of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Being skinny fat, what exactly is it? It's when you look relatively normal, but you have a lot of excess body fat literally right here. Like literally your arms, your legs, everything looks pretty good, but you have a belly right here. And the most common thing that people think whenever they're skinny fat is, I need to lose weight. And that is the wrong answer, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what you need to do in a couple minutes here. So, what is the biggest key to changing being skinny fat? You have three pillars. We have lifestyle, we have nutrition, and we have training. I'm gonna break down all three of these here in a minute. Next is your number one goal is to bulk and not to cut. Like I just said earlier, you do not want to cut when you're a skinny fat, you want to put muscle on. And the easiest way to explain this is to think about two different people. One person has about 15, 16% body fat and he's skinny fat. And the other person has about 15 or 16% body fat and it's the same person with 20 pounds more muscle mass. They look completely different. The person who has more muscle mass looks way, way better, and his 15, 16% body fat kind of looks like 12 or 13. It's a lot less and he looks a lot more muscular, looks a lot more confident, so on and so forth. Now the other person who has way less muscle mass, if any at all, and just has that 15 or 16%, it's just hanging out right here. So we have to put more muscle on if we want to look better, especially in the shortest amount of time. Now, when it comes to turning skinny fat into this little blocky six-pack abs that I have here, the number one thing that we're gonna look at is probably our nutrition. Our nutrition is probably really far off. So I'm a big fan of doing a macro split of 40% protein, 30% carbs, and 30% fat. The biggest reason for this is protein is gonna help your muscles repair and grow. Without enough protein, you're just gonna wind up having a little bit more excess body fat from having too many carbs and fats, and most likely this is gonna give you a soft, kind of not really aesthetic looking physique. People who have less protein, they don't have as much hard, really toned muscle mass as people who have more protein in their diet. Plus, the more protein that you have, the more satiated you're gonna feel, which is gonna help you from overeating, especially on the wrong kinds of foods. Which brings into my next point, whole foods. You're gonna wanna make sure that you're having a lot of fruits, vegetables, meats, and nuts. Really, really whole food type items that are about one single ingredient. If it has a whole laundry list of ingredients, you're probably eating the wrong thing, and if you eat that, which is gonna be more like processed style foods, you're gonna wind up getting really hungry and you're probably not gonna keep on track for where you really wanna be. So trust me, if you stick with single ingredient foods, whole foods in general, unprocessed stuff, and you stick to this macro split right here, you're gonna be doing a really, really good job at trying to get out of the skinny fat era. Next is you're gonna wanna make sure you have a surplus of 500 calories. So we did talk about bulking versus not cutting. You wanna make sure you're hitting your maintenance calories. So if you don't know what your maintenance calories are, go somewhere online, look up something called Total Daily Energy Expenditure, TDEE. That will give you your maintenance calories. Once you have that, you're gonna wanna add 500 calories, and that should help you put on about a pound each and every week. And when I talk about results a little bit later, I'll talk about how much muscle mass you can expect to put on each and every month. Now, once you have nutrition locked down, we just breezed through this really fast, but these are all really, really basic, easy things that you can implement very, very easily. Now, if you don't really know how to get 40%, 30%, 30% in your macros, just download any sort of macro tracking app. You can download like MyFitnessPal, Mike's Macros, Macro Factor. There's a whole bunch out there. I don't care if it's paid, doesn't matter if it's free. Just track your macros for a week. You'll dial all this in faster than you ever thought possible. Now, training is actually gonna be very, very important. A lot of people always say nutrition's like 70, 80% of it, and this is a lot less. But when you really wanna bulk and you really wanna put muscle on, this becomes very, very, very important, all right? So we have to make sure that we're doing 3 to 4 strength sessions each and every week. You wanna make sure that you're prioritizing compounds the less days that you're in the gym. So if you're in the gym only 2 or 3 days per week, compound movements are gonna be your best friend. What's a compound movement? A compound movement is something like a squat, a deadlift, a bench press, something where there's a lot of muscles moving at the same time, which means that you're working multiple muscles at the exact same time, which means it's easier for you to get a lot more training volume in less time. So people who use a lot of machines, they're just isolating that one muscle group, and if they go to the gym a lot, 5, 6 days a week, that's totally fine, and they can absolutely crush it. But if you're not going to the gym that much, and you wanna maximize your time, doing compound movements is gonna be absolutely crucial. You're gonna make sure you're doing these things that move a lot of muscle at the same time. Next is you're gonna make sure you're doing something called progressive overload. This is actually a lot easier than it sounds. So the only thing that this means is that essentially you should be adding a little bit of weight each time you go to the gym, to the bar or the dumbbells or whatever it is, or you can add an extra rep, maybe 2 extra reps, or you can add an extra set. You can increase your range of motion. You just have to do something that's making it a little bit harder each and every time. That's the definition of progressive overload. A lot of people hear this and are like, man, I just can't get stronger in the gym. That's fine. Just add an extra rep. You know what I mean? Like, do something that makes it a little bit harder than last time. And as long as you're doing that, it is literally solid evidence and proof that you are making changes and you are getting stronger. And if you get stronger, you are getting bigger. As long as you're eating that extra 500 calories each and every day. You eat excess calories, you get stronger in the gym, you literally get bigger. It is that freaking easy, I promise you, all right? Next, when we go from nutrition to training to lifestyle, the lifestyle thing is something a lot of people overlook. So when it comes to lifestyle, sleeping 7 to 8 hours, gonna be pretty crucial. If you're someone who gets 4 or 5 hours of sleep, how do you think you're gonna feel to come back in the gym and do this progressive overload thing we just talked about? You're not gonna feel very great. You're gonna be really tired. You're probably gonna hit the same numbers you hit last week, maybe less, all right? And also, the majority of the muscle mass that you're putting on happens in the deep sleep, right? So if you're sleeping 7 to 8 hours, you're getting a solid amount of deep sleep. If you go out with your friends really late, and you stay up really late, and you wake up really early the next day, you're not gonna be getting that much deep sleep, you're not gonna be getting that much recovery. So not only are you gonna feel like shit, you're also not actually gonna be progressing in putting more muscle on and repairing that muscle that actually needs to be repaired and grow after every one of these training sessions that you're doing. Next is hydration. Hydration is another one that's super overlooked. One of the easiest ways to do this is to pretty much just consume around 100 ounces of water each and every day. That's gonna be pretty important. Or you can do about, some people say about half your body weight in ounces is another way of doing it. But if you're not drinking enough, water is like 70% of your muscle. So if you're not having enough water, if you're not consuming enough water, then you're basically dehydrated, which is making it harder for your muscles to grow, right? And then when you guys take something like creatine, which is a really hot topic right now, that basically allows you to put more water into the muscle. So you guys want water in your muscles. You don't want to be dehydrated. It makes building muscle mass very, very hard. It also makes you very, very angry and agitated, and it's just like not good for anyone in all facets of life. So you definitely don't want to not drink enough water. The biggest reason people don't drink enough water is they drink a shit ton of coffee, right? You drink a lot of coffee, it's a diuretic, it makes you pee more, and it makes you not really want to consume anything else but more coffee, or maybe more energy drinks, or maybe something that just gets you really jazzed up, and water just doesn't sound very appealing. So, highly recommend, start drinking a glass of water like in between all these other things. Wake up, have a glass of water first before you have your caffeine. Like, do something that's gonna help you drink a little bit more water. My favorite thing to do, just have a container of water with you everywhere you go. It's gonna tell you like, hey, maybe I should drink some water. If you had it for like 3 hours in your hand and you haven't drank any, it will remind you to drink more water. So do that. Stress management, easier said than done. I fully understand. But stress management, in my opinion, versus like all these people who are like, you know, doing meditation and all these different things or yoga or whatever, I get it. Very, very time consuming, and potentially if you're like me and you have a lot of energy, that's not gonna work out for you. But you know what works for me really well, and I think it worked for a lot of you guys, is just going for a walk. If you can go for a walk like 10 minutes a day, like 3 times a day, it's like 30 minutes of walking, which is really good for getting your steps in and getting extra fat loss. So that's probably a double win. But just going for a walk, honestly, just makes such a big difference. Like it's huge. I really recommend just go out, get a couple walks in. It's gonna make a massive difference. Next is gonna be limiting alcohol. The biggest reason that you guys wanna limit alcohol, because some of you guys right now are like, all that stuff you just said was good, but this one, I'm out. No, stay here, hang out for a minute, let me explain. When you limit alcohol, you limit a higher amount of calories. We have carbohydrates, protein, fat. Those are our 3 macros. Carbohydrates and protein are 4 calories per gram. Fat is 9 calories per gram. Alcohol is 7 calories per gram. Where does that fall into place, right? Like it's like a weird macro that just doesn't really fall in a good number. Because if carbs and protein are 4, fat is 9, you don't really want to have a ton of fat in your diet because you're really going to overeat on calories very easily. And if you have a lot of alcohol, because it's 7 calories per gram, it makes it very easy to overconsume on calories as well. But here's where it gets even more interesting. When you consume a lot of alcohol, it gives you immediately bad sleep. You never get good sleep. Even if you sleep 7 or 8 hours, you'll notice that you wake up and you're very groggy, right? Because you didn't get a lot of deep sleep. The deep sleep is really, really important. So you have to make sure that you have a good sleep routine. The room is cold, the room is dark, and you didn't drink alcohol. And when you do that, you get better quality sleep. When you get better quality sleep, you get stronger in the gym. When you get stronger in the gym, you're more excited to go to the gym the next day, and so on and so forth. Now, also, alcohol, drinking too much of it can kind of mess with your hormones as well. So you don't want to have like suboptimal hormones, because that's just gonna make this whole entire process, really, really hard also. Like, you know what it's like when you're around a female and she's got her hormones kind of like out of whack. You're like, that's like your original go-to is like, dude, her hormones are all messed up. You don't want to be around her. Maybe she's pregnant, whatever it is, right? When you start drinking, you act like a pregnant girl. It's not good. Make sure you dial all these lifestyle factors in: sleep, hydration, stress management, and then limiting alcohol. Now, what kind of results can I expect if I do all the things that Ryan just told me to do, right? You can expect, as a newbie, and I'm gonna define newbie as someone who's new to the gym, you haven't really been training with heavy weights, probably either ever or for maybe only like a few months. You're gonna be called a noob. So a noob is gonna be somewhere between 1 to 1.5 pounds of muscle per month. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but think about it. If you dial all these things in, you're gonna be losing fat and you're gonna be building muscle at the same time, all right? Especially as a newbie. You're gonna be having pretty drastic body transformation pretty fast. I would say within 60 to 90 days, you're gonna start looking like a completely different person. Even though you might only put on about 3 pounds of muscle in 60 days, you could probably lose like about 1 pound to 2 pounds of body fat probably every week or two. So you might have in 60 days like 10 pounds less body fat and like 5 pounds of muscle mass almost. And then like you're gonna look way, way different. So don't get discouraged that you're only putting on 1 to 1.5 pounds of muscle each and every month. As an intermediate, it gets a little bit worse. Looking at about 0.5 pound to 1 pound per month. And this is for people that are right around that like 2 to 3 year mark inside the gym. Now, there also is an advanced stage, which I didn't even put up here, because if you're in the advanced stage, you're probably not watching this video. But if you were advanced, you probably are gonna be around like 0.25 to like 0.5 pounds of muscle per month to every other month. Like when you're advanced, you're hoping to put on like 1 or 2 pounds of muscle like a year. And like that, you'd still be excited about that. Like even professional bodybuilders, they're putting on like 1 to 2 pounds of muscle like per year and working on very specific body parts to make them kind of pop a little bit more than the year before. So don't get too discouraged if you're advanced. But yeah, you can pretty much expect these numbers right here as a newbie or as an intermediate. And if you start incorporating all these things pretty much into your day-to-day, you're gonna change drastically. The number one thing I really wanted you guys to get out of this video is that if you are skinny fat, you should not be doing a cut. You should absolutely be doing a bulk, and you should absolutely be incorporating all these things into your daily routine. Now, on the nutrition side, again, if you don't have a nutrition tracking app, highly recommend that you do that. It's gonna make a massive difference in terms of the accountability for yourself and making sure you're doing the right thing. In terms of training and following something that's at least 3 to 4 days per week, if you guys are not currently a member of the Chalk Performance Training app, highly recommend that you join. It's 7 days for free. I already have 30,000 people that are on there right now, and I've changed 150,000 bodies on there since 2014. So whatever year it is, yeah, 10 years. So in 10 years, I've changed 150,000 people. It works pretty good. And then in terms of lifestyle, the sleep, the hydration, the stress management, limiting alcohol, it's gonna be a really big one. This is gonna be something that you might just need to write down on a sticky note each and every day and just kind of review it and be like, hey, like, did I do all these things that I said I was gonna do? If you can't do them every single day, totally cool. But like each and every week, let's try to mark off at least one of these things, and it'll make a huge difference. Real quick, guys, before you go, I am gonna be doing a brand new free challenge. And you guys know me for throwing some of the biggest challenges on social media. I've done the Earn Your Carbs Challenge, the Make Carbs Great Again Challenge. I've had tons of different challenges, and they've all been paid. Now, this is the first time ever I'm doing a free challenge. All you guys need to do is sign up for the Chalk Performance Training app, and in a few weeks, I'm gonna be launching this bad boy. So if you are currently skinny fat, or you're somewhere, in your health and fitness journey where you don't really want to be and you want to get fitter and you want to feel better and you want to look better, this is going to be the challenge for you. I'm literally going to just lay out all of this stuff in the challenge. I'm going to give you guys the best training program to follow. I'm going to give you guys the best nutrition to follow. I'm going to give you guys all the lifestyle tips that you need. I'm going to do a live video onboarding you guys with any questions that you guys have, just to make sure you guys know exactly what to do every single step of the way. So all you guys have to do to sign up for the challenge is go to my Instagram account at Ryan Fish, click the link in my bio, and you will see the link to get into the challenge for absolutely free. Now, one more thing before you guys go. I would love it if you could just subscribe to this channel and like this video. If you want to tag anyone in the comments below and ask them to do the challenge with you, I would appreciate that as well. Again, let them know it's free. There is no cost involved. And guys, I will see you in the next video. If you want any other videos you guys want to hear from me, drop that in the comments below as well. And I will see you guys in the next one.